Hey guys, welcome to another episode of DeLuSioNaL's Arcade. So in this episode, we're actually going to jump into an old cocktail machine that I picked up a while ago on Let Go. I got it really cheap. I got it for 30 bucks. Came with a color monitor, a color CRT 13-inch monitor. I believe it was a K4800. And you know, it worked great when I first got it. And it had Pyros, which is a obscure title game. I ended up selling it to a person on Club. It worked out really well. But still, you know, I still wanted to use the cocktail for something, and it kept getting loose. What would happen is every now and then, as you can see in the video here, it was turning red, other times it would turn blue. You know, just, I knew something was going on with the connector. So I checked it out, I opened it up, looked at the connector, everything looked fine, did some continuity test there, it was fine. So I definitely know it's a cold solder joint somewhere. So in this video, we're actually going to take it apart, pull the monitor out, and kind of fix the problem and put it back and maybe do some adjustments after. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump in the video. Alright guys, so we're going to be working on this. Not sure if I should take it out first. This is actually just a bezel that I took from my other cocktail. But what I want to do, I want to actually take this out, and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it in this actual cocktail or not, or if I'm going to actually steal this from my Arcanite. It actually depends if it fits or not. And then, you know, this, I had the intention of flipping it when I bought it. I mean, as you saw in other videos, I got this thing for 30 bucks. And I ended up selling the board for, you know, pretty decent profit. I'm sure it was worth a lot more, but for the collector and for me, it actually worked out because I got it so cheap. And I'm sure he got a really good board, the Pyros board. Anyway, so I'm gonna, you know, everything's already disconnected, so I have to kind of just take these 4 bolts out and take it out, and then I can discharge it. I'm not really touching the back. That's probably what I'll end up doing, because to get underneath and try to discharge it underneath, it's a lot safer if I just take it out first, place it here, then discharge it, and then work on it. Alright, so let me go ahead and get in here. So this end on this side just opens up that way. And what I'm going to do actually here, I mean, everything's unplugged. Actually, I went ahead and replaced the plug on this. This is actually a brand new plug. I believe it's like 9 feet long. And I replaced it completely. You'll see, I'll just throw up on the screen. The old one, it was super frayed. And, you know, it was a safety issue. So at that point, I just wanted to replace it. It came like that, you know, all kind of jerry-rigged and wires exposed and stuff. But so I did replace it, put some brackets on the inside. Now it's way better. So first thing I want to do, obviously it's unplugged. I was going to discharge it down here, which I still can do, I guess, but it's just hard to kind of get up in here. So I figured it'd be a little easier if I can just disconnect it. So let me see here. Yeah, there we go. So I'm pulling out the RGB. Basically right here, this is like the RGB connector. That's harmless to pull out. And then the power connector, oh, it's right here. And I'm just disconnecting power. So I just literally just take it out. So I think this will be able to come out. It's not connected to anything else. Just want to double check. I believe that's to the controls on the other side. Should be able to just lift it right out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. There's 4 connectors here. I'm going to go ahead and get my bit driver and nut driver and kind of just get it. So I'll be back. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's all that's holding it in. These 4 bolts here. Alright, so let me go ahead and lift this out here. And the bottom of it, I believe, is this side. So you kind of get underneath here. There. Now I gotta get it. That's good. So I'm going to carefully pull it out. It's kind of slotted, as you see there. I'm just double checking everything's disconnected, which it is. It looks like there's keys hanging off of it. I think I saw that on the inside. I just missed taking it off. I don't know why somebody put this on here. This is actually, I'm guessing somebody was hiding keys inside here. This used to be in a bar. So I'm just gonna bend it off. And these keys aren't for the cabinet at all. They're totally different. These are for like, I don't know, a gate or something like that, but they're not for the cabinet. I tried, I looked. So here's the unit. So let me grab my tools and we can go ahead and discharge it. I actually just have a typical screwdriver. This is just a flathead. It's just easier to use a flathead because you want to go underneath the anode cup. I did actually build this on my own. I love these connectors because they're really big and they really grab on things you want to grab on. It's really meant to be kind of like this on these little teeth, but I usually do it on the part that's on the inside, and it really grabs it really well, and it can't really come off, and it's insulated as well. I have these little rubber cups over it. So I have that. So this goes on the anode cup, obviously, and then this here will go on the chassis. And the other thing I like to do, I tell people all the time, you know, a lot of people have it put on here and they'll either solder it or tape it with electrical tape. But, you know, people use that all the time and then they throw it around and they forget about it, and it could get loose over time. So I always like to just take a multimeter, put it on continuity. Continuity just allows you to put the two contacts together and makes a sound. So in this case, I always like to kind of just hold it here, you know, pretend this is on the chassis, which is ground. And let's see if I can grab it on there. There we go. And then the other end, I just put on the tip here. And if it makes contact, you know that everything's connected correctly. So it's always good to test, even if you have it soldered on or like electrical tape, and you have it dedicated to like, you know, discharging a monitor. It's always good to just put the end on the wire and then the other end here. Make sure you have continuity. That means this connection is good. So I just do that just as a little test for myself. So you also want to connect it somewhere where it's not going to fall off. Like I just pulled it off easily just now. So you can kind of get it in here. Usually on this part it's pretty good. There's like a little groove where I can pull it and nothing will happen. So that's it. You put one hand in your pocket, kind of get underneath here, and you'll hear a little pop. Let's see if you can hear it. Oh, in this case we didn't. And some of these newer chassis are self-discharging, so that's probably what happened. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of get it in there and pop this thing off. Sometimes you just got to find the way it is. Let's see if I can find it. In this case, I'm positive it's discharged. I'm touching it like crazy. And I usually like to pop it off first. Well, there we go. So I just popped it off. So then just in case this is, you want to kind of touch this part. Obviously it's grounded to the chassis, and I also want to touch this again. So this is completely discharged. Some people wait a few minutes, they do it again. Usually I'm usually fine. It usually works for me. So let me go ahead and take this out. So I'm going to show you inside, for those of you who want to know how to pop it off. It has like two metal brackets which face either direction, and when you pinch this over here, usually it makes them move in and out. So basically it goes in and out. You can just kind of squeeze it here. So that part, when you put it back on, I usually curl it back like this. Oh, this is super dirty. You can kind of get in there with one, you hook it, and then you press it here and you snap the other one in, and then the suction cup goes down. So that's it. This monitor is super dirty. I might give it a little cleaning gently with water because you don't want to get the Aqua Dog washed off here. But for now, all I want to do is whenever I wiggle the wire for the RGB connection, it gets different colors. So I'm pretty sure I need to reflow that connector on the other side. I tested this is off camera. I did this. I tested the actual connector where I tested continuity, you know, putting the probe in there and stuff, and I actually took everyone out and looked at each one, and it was all soldered fine. So I put all the connectors back in. I also cleaned the connector on this side, and it still didn't do anything. So I'm pretty sure when I wiggle it, it's something with the probably a cold solder joint. So I have to just get that chassis out, unfortunately. So I was going to recap this monitor completely while I had it out, but it's pretty easy to get to. So I'm just, for now, I want to see if it'll work. I'm going to reflow that connector, put it back in, test it, see if it works, and if it does, then we're good to go. And then I'll just recap it in the future. But it does look pretty sharp already, so I'm not really going to bother at this point. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm actually going to get my hands a little clean. maybe clean this up a little bit, and then I'm going to pull the chassis out and start getting to work on it. Typically, I actually go and put these outside and wash them with a, just with a garden hose. I use Simple Green. And check out my other videos. I have, a couple videos on that. I washed like a G07. I washed a Sanyo EZ, a 20 EZ. And I actually have two that I'm still working on that I already washed that you saw that were over here, nice and squeaky clean. I actually watched those last weekend. So I have to still release that video. It was very short. It's probably going to be me narrating it because it was super long outside. So what I'm doing now is I'm just cleaning it up slightly. I would do this outside, it's just late, and I don't feel like waiting. I usually do that if I'm recapping it and it's super dirty. I figured you might as well, get everything on there. But it looks like this is actually working really well. And the Aquadog's not coming off. I'm just rubbing it just to get all the dust off. There's tons of dirt on here. Wherever had it last didn't really, it's been sitting for years, so I figured why not, right? Yeah, so basically I'm trying to get the neck board off without breaking it because it's glued in. So it's glued in with this here. And I was kind of just peeling it back a little bit. I think it should be fine. It looks like someone might have already taken it off. I wonder. Yeah, it looks like yeah, it looks like it was already taken off. Or it's just old. Probably a little of both. Yeah, so that didn't affect it at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Alright guys, so after studying this for a little bit, I realized all I had to do was take out two screws. One here, and one over here on the side. And then that allowed the chassis to slide out. I knew there was some sort of mechanism going on because there was like a plastic piece over here which kind of lets you slide it back in and holds it down. So this ground wire, I believe, is on the neck board. So it's soldered in. Typically I snip it in half and then I just create a connector so that I can just connect it quickly. I'm not going to bother. I'll do that when I recap it. But for now, wow, you can see there's like a ton of hair and dust down here. What I want to do is I want to just get to this one connector right here. That's 4 and then 3 it looks like. So looks like it would be this right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 3. And it is a, I think I'm only using, yeah, there are 6 connectors, so it's 6 and 3. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reflow this. I wonder if it's actually cracked, I don't know. So let me go ahead and get my soldering iron. I'm actually going to try to carefully flip this without having to snip any wires. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm good. That's it right there. So let me go ahead and get my soldering iron. I'll plug it in here and we'll continue. So I always tin my tip whenever I'm putting it away. So I kind of like to do the same where like I do this and then I get it nice and clean and you get a really clean tip. So let me go ahead and do this. And it's funny because I'm reflowing this and I have no glasses on and I really should have my glasses on. Typically you reheat it. But I like adding a little bit of solder. And I probably will bring my magnifying glass over with the light and check it out. Just to make sure nothing's good. Nothing's, nothing's still broken. So I'm holding it there. I should have used some flux on it, but for now I think we're okay. This soldering iron is really good. It's the Hakko 888D, I think is the model number. If you guys want to click on the link in the description, it's actually linked to my account here on YouTube. And if you guys buy it through that, I actually get a tiny bit back. So every little bit helps. So there's that, and just in case I'm going to reflow this 3-pin connector here. There's 1. 2. 3. Alright. Alright, so I have it here. What I should have done really is just put this on my bench, but I thought it'd be a quick job, so looks like everything looks good at this point. I'll go up here and look. Yeah, those are reflowed real nice. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Those extra 3 there. Just double checking in general. I should have reflowed this while I was at it. Maybe I'll do that. See, I hate doing shotgunning stuff because I want to know that that's what the issue was and that's what fixed it, as opposed to redoing this. I guess I'm gonna leave this, and if it still doesn't work, then I'm gonna go ahead and reflow that. But you know how it is. If the hood's open, you want to always do it. But everything looks okay. I'm looking at the joints here. Nothing looks like it's messed up, and it's not like I was shaking the neck board and it was changing colors. It was actually that connector, so I'm going to leave it alone. Alright, now I'm just going to reverse everything I did. There we go. I just want to get this out of the way here. And this is exactly why you discharge a monitor. You don't want to be getting stuff where it doesn't belong. Gotta kind of get this out of the way. So yeah, this is actually pretty easy to take out. So next time I know, I can just slide it out with those 2 screws. That's how it was on my other K7000, I think, that I worked on, that I recapped a while back. That snaps in. It's a piece of plastic that kind of snaps in there. And now, oh look, shard of glass. This is left over from, you know, when the other glass was missing, I guess, whoever broke it last. Because when I got it, there was no glass at all. So let me just make sure this is on. Put that in there. 1. Oops. And 2. So that's in there good. I'm gonna kind of put this on real quick, and that connector would not come out, and it's still in there nice and solid. So obviously you want to line up this portion with the key there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let me get on this side, it's just easier to see. There we go, it slips in. And you don't want to wiggle it if you can help it. You want to kind of get it on there nice and straight. So that's a really good connection, I can feel it. So the green is on this side here. And I'm going to go ahead and pop this back in here. This is actually one of those little twisty thingies. Let me put this in there too. Okay, so that's held there. I'm not going to bother with the other one I unclipped. I think it's fine. So I want to make sure the ground is still on there. This part's going right there, it's not out or anything. Alright, so now I just got to plug in the connector once I put it back in the thing. And as far as the anode cup goes, which I'm just using, this is how I cleaned it before. I'm using just a wet or damp cloth. It's not, doesn't have any chemicals on it whatsoever. I didn't want to risk taking the Aqua Dog off. But might as well clean this if you have it discharged. These things can get really dirty. So I'm going to turn it so it's actually supposed to go on this way. Let me go ahead. Sorry, I'm a little off camera, I apologize, but got to get it done the right way. There we go. So that's in there. And I always give it a little wiggle afterwards to make sure it's in there, because I have had it in the past. My first recap I did, I didn't realize this wasn't on right, and then I kept seeing like the screen like move weirdly, and then when I looked in the back, this thing was kind of moving around. I was like, holy crap, I shut it off. Put it back on correctly, and it's been great ever since. So Just making sure it's good. Kind of give it a good wiggle. So everything's all connected. Here's a power cord here. These wires actually really should be kind of more in here. I think when I took everything out, it kind of discombobulated everything. So I'm going to kind of get this behind here like that. And I want to get it away from the controls because I want to be able to adjust that later. Alright guys, so I have the monitor here, ready to drop it in. It's going to go in the same exact way. It's all nice and slotted. It can only go in one way with this nice bracket that's here. See, the end goes in right there. So get both ends. Slowly lower it in. I'm not going to bolt it in just yet. I want to make sure it works the way it should before I actually put it in. Let me go ahead and plug it in on the side. Okay, so that's power. And then, so I'm just plugging in the connector here, which is sync and RGB. And this is a connector that I was wiggling to get everything to work. Let me just make sure, okay, that's right. Alright guys, so I grabbed my, I have a Tetris by Atari. It's one of my favorite games. It's great, a great test board because it's so tiny and you can just pop it in easily. So I'm going to go ahead and do that down here. I'm actually going to place it right on here. Everything's fine. And I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. And fingers crossed, let's turn it on. See what happens. Hopefully no smoke comes out. And we'll see something here. Keeping an eye on down here so no smoke. And there it is. So now I'm going to wiggle that connector. And it's fixed. Awesome. I'm actually wiggling it and it was moving before and now it's rock solid. So I was right when I said I needed to reflow that. I was a little worried that it wasn't going to fix the problem. Alright guys, so we're back and this is the adjustment tool. It's super huge. You can see, I mean, to scale on the monitor, and this is a 13-inch monitor. It almost reaches the end there. It is really big and the chances of hitting something in there that you're not supposed to are really slim. So let me go ahead and turn on the light here so you guys can see it a little better. And I'm just going to try to dial in the tint and stuff like that. Let me see if I can get my flashlight out here. And I'm using this adjustment tool to reach in here, which is great. So let me look down here. I think it might be right here. Move it and see what happens. There we go. So that's tint there. So that's how it was. I'm going to kind of brighten it up a little bit. Let's see if I can do the same over here. This tool is great. I'm actually outside of the cocktail machine. That's how long it is. So that, it looked a little green to me. It's supposed to be like a brownish. Actually, let me try doing that. And then moving the other one a little bit to the left. I wish I had a one of those crafty mech things. No, that looks like it's the wax. I can get true colors here. Yeah, it still looks really dark. I gotta find the right balance. Let me try these side connectors here. Let's see what that does. Yeah, that looks a little better. You know what I gotta do? I gotta fire it up in main. See what the colors are supposed to be, because I'm just approximating here. But basically I'm on the neck board right now. And there's 3 pots, 1 for red, 1 for green, 1 for blue. Let me try this one. And I'm just messing with it. That looks really good actually. I might just leave it there. There it is. See how it's more yellow? I just turned it. I'm gonna make it more white. Yeah, that looks awesome. All right, I think that's where I'm gonna leave it for now. But not bad. All right, guys, so that about does it for this video. We got it to work. So I'm really happy about it. So next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave it unbolted. I'm probably gonna pop it in my Orkanoid to see if it fits. If it doesn't fit, I'm gonna pop it back here and then we'll see what we can do. I'm not sure if I wanna keep this or not. But at least I know the monitor is dialed in where it's supposed to be, or close, until I can recap it. Alright guys, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.